You guys, today we're talking about the new Star Wars TV show,
Ahsoka.
Which just wrapped up last week.
Yep.
And
it's written by Dave Filoni.
Written and produced by Dave Filoni. And partially directed by him. The
last Hollywood Star Wars fan on Earth.
Hollywood? What?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Everybody in Hollywood hates Star Wars.
Hollywood.
Like Disney and Kathleen Kennedy and...
Oh my God. You guys, we're going to have some conversations during this episode. The first portion of this is going to be spoiler-free.
Yep.
We're going to give our best spoiler-free synopsis that we can. And then after that, we'll let you know when we're getting into spoilers.
Yeah.
Craig.
Yes.
So for those of you who are maybe tuning in for the first time, I'm a mega Star Wars fan.
Huge.
Craig is about as casual of a Star Wars fan, if you can even call him a Star Wars fan, as can be.
My favorite Star Wars is Episode 7, so that's about how casual I am.
Craig is a Star Wars passerby, I would say.
Yes.
Not a fan, nor a hater.
No.
But just
it's Star Wars.
He knows that they're there.
Yeah.
And that's it.
And they're fun.
Yeah. Hey, I'll take fun any day.
I'm not into the lore, but I
he's
will say...
accidentally starting to get into it. He can't stop himself.
Yeah, this show has kind of got me into it.
I have wrapped him into it, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So, Craig, what did you think of this show overall? Do you want to give it a score?
Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot.
Okay.
I thought the first couple episodes were a little slow.
Mm-hmm.
I know that it was kind of some backstory catching you up on people who probably haven't seen a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I guess for me, it was just slightly boring.
Mm-hmm.
But then 3 was better, and then 4 was really good. 5 was awesome.
Yeah.
6 was really good. 7 was pretty good, and 8 fulfilled, my season finale for the show.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So what would you give it out of 10?
8.9.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's good.
I really enjoyed it.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
It got me into the lore as much as I didn't want it to. I thought Ahsoka is a very intriguing character.
Yeah.
And Balin, holy crap.
So cool.
My new favorite character in the show. And
we're dedicating this episode to Ray Stevens.
Yes, we are.
He
did fantastic.
He did so good.
That character wouldn't have been as good without him.
Yeah.
So
flawless performance.
What would you give it?
Okay.
You're a huge Star Wars fan.
I'm a huge Star Wars fan. Do you know what the vault event is in gymnastics?
Yes.
They run.
That's the floor.
No,
that's the floor.
Yeah, that's the floor. They run and they push themselves off of that little platform thingy and do a million backflips.
Yes.
Okay.
1,500.
I am going to explain the Ahsoka show as best I can with that event.
Okay.
Okay. So the best gymnast of all time gets up to do a vault. Okay. They were really, really, really good for a long time. And then they had some injuries, didn't do so good, lost both of their legs in a tragic accident.
I was going to say, sounds like Simone, but then once you said lost both their legs,
I know,
it's
right?
Not anymore.
Lost both their legs, and then they get up to do the vault again. And, they're not fully recovered.
Mm-mm.
They've tried to do it a few times in the past couple of years and just epically failed.
Oh, yeah.
And they start to jog limp toward the vault, and you're starting to get worried.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you're like, okay, they're moving, they're not falling over yet, but this is kind of slow. There's no way they can really do anything with this amount of speed.
Right.
And then they vault off, and they do a quadruple gainer 720 backflip, no hand Superman dirt bike jump flip off of the vault. And you're like, oh my goodness, nobody has ever accomplished anything like this. And they go to land, and they don't fall over all the way, but it's a pretty shaky landing.
Yeah.
And so you're like, ooh, the trick was sick.
Yeah.
But everything else was kind of iffy, but I'm just going to think about the trick for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
That's what the Ahsoka show was.
And then you're also curious what they're going to do next time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like you want the sequel to that jump because you're like, I know what they're capable of.
Yeah.
Do they do it every time? No, because last time they attempted the same
'cause
thing,
it's-
they broke both their wrists off the vault and face planted, right? So episode 1, 2, and 3 were totally fine,
Yeah.
but not exciting.
Did they
Basically.
get their legs cut off by lightsabers?
They cut their own legs off,
Okay.
unfortunately, with the lightsabers. I forgot to mention that. So episode 1, 2, and 3 were like good enough and intriguing enough to make me excited.
Oh, yeah.
They weren't necessarily exciting episodes, but just with the past Star Wars that we've had, it finally was something that felt like Star Wars in the like, oh, they're doing something with lore and they're doing
Yes.
something a little more exciting than what they've done in the past.
Yes.
And then 4 was awesome.
4 was
had some good
awesome.
lightsaber fights.
Yeah.
Had some just like really cool stuff that happened. And then 5, and this is spoiler free, had some of the best used fan service I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And then 6 was really cool and set some stuff up really nicely. 7 was weird and
filler.
not my favorite and
Yeah.
kind of fillery. And then 8 was good enough. It was a good episode, but not a great finale.
Okay.
That's kind of my opinion of the whole show.
I guess for me, I thought it was a good finale because I'm very excited for the next season.
And
but that could have been all the other episodes.
Yeah, and I think I'm kind of the same way, but I still have that, like, I'm still hesitant from the shows they've done in the past.
Yes.
I think if I don't know. Let's say they did episode 7 and then this show came out. At that point, I'm like, this could be incredible. But now that I know kind of what corporate Disney does to these shows and
You've
different
seen
things like
8
that,
and 9.
I get worried that 1, they'll just cancel season 2 because they've canceled probably 80% of the stuff they've announced, which I don't think they would, because Ahsoka at this point is the Star Wars character. I think it's
Right,
her,
but
and it's like
but
Mandalorian.
do they know that, though?
Do they know that? Right. But then like the guy with the most intriguing story is his character. His actor is dead, right?
Yeah.
And so it's so hard to continue that. I mean, they have animation, they have all this different kind of stuff, but I want to see where it goes. But at the same time, I can totally see them fumbling it because it's not something that that's something that they've done in the past.
Right.
So I'm cautiously optimistic.
Okay.
I guess really is what it is. But if they can do that plus a little more in season 2, or if it's going to be a little bit of a different show, if it's going to be a spinoff, or if this is going to come out in the movie that they're making, if they can go above and beyond with that, would love that.
Because isn't Dave Filoni making a movie?
He is, yeah.
Okay.
And they've announced that it's like the Mandoverse movie, which Mandoverse is basically like Mandalorian, Boba Fett, Ahsoka. Those are the shows that have kind of happened in this time period. So
could be amazing.
It could be amazing.
Also could be really bad.
it could be a flop.
Yeah.
So I just think if they're able to take all of the good parts of Ahsoka and use movie budget and materials and ideas and acting and all that kind of stuff in a movie, it would be incredible.
Yeah.
Because Ahsoka was really good, but it very much felt like a TV show with not an unlimited budget.
Right,
Basically,
right.
So
Everything looked really good, though.
almost everything
Yeah.
was really great. There were
Yeah.
a couple of, I guess, people movement CGI things that weren't good,
Okay.
but mostly
Yeah.
it was really good.
Like even the
Ships
like
and
the weird dog things.
even those
looked really
so
good.
And
Yeah.
even the lightsabers, I still don't like how they're doing lightsabers
Yeah.
with the practical lighting. I still hate it.
Ugh,
But
I think it looks so cool.
they did it way better in this show. They definitely toned the brightness down by like 1,000%.
Yeah.
Because it gave off the lighting, but it wasn't overpowering like it was in Kenobi. Kenobi's the one where everybody, whether they like the show or not, is talking about how horrifically bright the lightsabers were, which is like, cool, that's how it is in real life, but it's never been like that in Star Wars. So you're
Yeah.
not used to it because you're used to 45 years of lightsabers doing something specific in the dark. And in Kenobi, it's like, I'm just watching a really bright blue light that hurts my eyes, right?
Yeah, but the fight with him and Vader is like
It's cool, but it would
some
have
of
been
the coolest color spill.
It's cool, but it would have been cooler if they had done it how they did the prequels. It would have been more nostalgic. I think. I don't know.
thought it
It's a
looked
hot,
really cool,
It's a hot
so,
take, but
yeah.
anyway. So I'm gonna give the Ahsoka show 4, not 4 out of 10, 4 different out of 10 scores. Okay, so I'm gonna start with it just as a TV show.
Okay.
I'm gonna give it like a solid 7.9.
Okay.
Okay, pretty good TV show, but like I haven't even seen it, but I know this is not Game of Thrones.
No.
I know this isn't Breaking. I've seen Breaking Bad. It's not Breaking Bad. It's
Or
not
Better
that
Call Saul.
caliber, right?
Yeah.
But it is good.
Yeah.
It's not bad. It's not mediocre. It is good. It's above average.
Yeah.
So it's good. As a Star Wars show, I'll give it a 7
Oh, okay.
because, as a Star Wars product, I'll give it a 7.
Okay, because I was like, isn't all the Star Wars shows pretty bad?
Because,
other than,
like,
Clone Wars.
1 through 6 those are 10s. Tales of the Jedi is a 10. Mandalorian season 2 is a 10. Those are all like flawless works of art.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's a couple little projects and stuff that are like 9s, 8s, whatever. So this is like the 7.
Okay.
Ish.
Okay.
As far as a Star Wars project goes. As far as a Disney era Star Wars project goes, this is closer to the 9 and 9.5 category.
Yeah.
Because it's really good.
Yeah.
It's basically like as far as the live action stuff they've done, it's like The Mandalorian season 2, Ahsoka, probably The Force Awakens, and then like a bunch of other stuff.
What about Mandalorian season 1?
Mandalorian season 1, maybe right under like Ahsoka. Mandalorian season 1 is
Yeah, I've
good,
heard
but
it's
it's just
good.
like there's not a lot happens, I guess.
Okay.
But it's good. It's really good.
Okay.
So Mandalorian season 2 is the best. I think the best thing they've done since Disney live action. So, and then there's another score. What was my other score? Oh, a Dave Filoni.
Oh, yeah.
Because so Dave Filoni's done a bunch of stuff. He did the Clone Wars. He also did Clone Wars season 7, which was like way later, and
Didn't he
nailed that.
create Ahsoka?
Yes.
Okay.
He did Tales of the Jedi, which is flawless work of art. Directed just some different episodes. Co-created Mandalorian. So, as far as the Dave Filoni project goes, I'd give it like a 9.
Okay.
So overall, pretty good.
Yeah.
Sorry about my 4 out of 10 scores, but when you're as invested in this as I am, you get that level of detail.
I gave it an 8.9 for 3 reasons.
Okay, go.
Ahsoka and her character, just how intriguing she is.
Cool.
Balin and his character, and Thrawn.
Yeah.
I really liked Thrawn.
Thrawn is cool.
He was really cool.
And the actor.
Dude, totally like Elon Musk vibes. I don't know if you were getting the same
Oh,
thing.
for sure. Less weird.
Less blue.
Yeah,
Or more
Elon Musk
blue.
more blue. Thrawn is very intriguing, and there's a lot to Thrawn that like I don't even know about because he showed up in these novels, and I've never read a book outside of Captain Underpants. But it's like more than anything, it's his voice.
Yeah.
It's his voice and his presence. That's like what makes him so cool because he's very unlike other villains. He's very stoic, very calculated, not really.
His tone,
He's
I would say.
very rarely angry.
Yeah.
Or outwardly angry. It's very intriguing.
Oh,
He's
it's
really cool.
super cool.
Yeah.
And he always seems like he's a step ahead,
Yeah.
which in a way he is.
Yeah.
Is that a spoiler?
What, Thrawn?
Yeah.
He's in the preview
Yeah,
or
okay.
the trailers.
Okay.
So my points off mostly is 2 things. One, they got a lot closer on lightsaber choreography, but are still not all the way there. There's basically one person who can do it, and his name is Nick Gillard, and for some reason Disney is not hiring him because he did all the choreography for the prequels, and there are no better sword fights anymore. They're so good.
They had
And
one fantastic
They had one
fight.
that was really good.
Yeah.
And I would say was as good as maybe the worst lightsaber fight in the prequels. Whatever
Yes,
that is.
yes.
Maybe like Qui-Gon versus Maul in the desert.
Better than 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Better
Because even the
choreography-wise,
originals aren't
yes.
great either.
No, they're not great. The difference with the originals is it's not as much about the the fight as it is about the reason for the fight.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
those are very emotional fights. Because you got like Obi-Wan versus Vader, and that's the most boring lightsaber fight of all time.
Yeah.
For sure. But it's also like after all this time, you look back at it and you're like, oh my gosh, what a moment, right? And then like Luke versus Vader is better.
Yes.
And he finds out he's his father and stuff, but it's still not great.
No.
Luke versus Vader in Return of the Jedi actually is pretty good.
Yeah.
It was 1983 and they were using metal sticks, but that was pretty good. But again, like the emotion behind it is all there. So they didn't have that in this as much in most of it. And the one that is really cool was almost no emotion really attached to it. So,
but it was a cool
that's kind of neither here nor there, but it was a cool fight.
Yeah.
Kind of short, but still cool.
It was short.
So there were a few good lightsaber fights, and I really respect Rosario Dawson for you can tell she worked really hard because dual wielding anything has to be so hard.
It's gotta be difficult.
Dude. Like one lightsaber is pretty easy for anybody who's relatively coordinated, but two that has to be so hard
and make it look.
I cannot
good.
even imagine it. Yeah, so good for her. And well, I guess I'll talk. There's another person who dual wields in this show. I'm not gonna say anything else in case you're gonna watch it, but they did maybe even better. But we'll talk about that later. So overall, I'm pleased with it, and I'm happy that it kind of feels like Star Wars is back.
Yeah,
because we haven't really had this for a lot of people who are kind of in my area of the Star Wars fandom. We haven't really had this since like Mandalorian season 2, which was end of 2020.
Yeah,
it's been 3 years really since we've gotten anything that live action that has blown our minds. So,
did you like the score?
I really go back and forth on Star Wars scores because
it was built from John Williams.
Because the movies it's the best. They're the best. It's the best score of all time.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything that even really comes close to it. There are things that have cool songs, but as far as a total score, Star Wars is the best. And what's almost worse is in these shows, they'll do almost no original Star Wars score, and then every once in a while they'll put a little snippet of the Star Wars score in there, and then you realize how bad the rest of the music is in comparison to that. Like, if the Star Wars score had never existed, maybe this music would be totally fine and work well and stuff.
Yeah.
But because we know it's there, it doesn't work.
Did
like
they have a lot of the original? I really didn't hear much like
it was like
music in this
one time that they had it,
which was
I thought was
twice. Good.
But what's interesting is very, very often on YouTube, after a show comes out or an episode comes out that has like a cool lightsaber fight, people will rescore it. So they'll take what it really was and they're like slap the actual Star Wars music over it, and it really amplifies the scene by so much. And so it's like, I don't know how the laws work, like with using a certain amount of John Williams stuff. You know, I'm sure he has the rights to it. And I don't know how.
Maybe a movie is more easily used than a show.
So I don't really know. I only noticed it really twice, like the actual score.
Okay. I actually really enjoyed it.
I like, so that's where I'm torn is because it was very kind of like samurai and some Western, which is really cool, but it kind of takes me out of the feeling of Star Wars.
Oh, okay.
And puts me into something that's so similar to Star Wars, but it's really samurai.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's hard because it's like, as far as Star Wars goes, I don't like it. But as far as like the show goes, I really like it. So I'm kind of torn about it, but
I really enjoyed this.
Yeah.
That end credit song was super cool.
It is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun.
I like that song.
It's a good song. Yeah. Did you like the acting?
Yeah. For those three, I thought they all did very, very well.
Yeah.
Sabine,
Sabine was fine. Got better as time went on.
The other chick, I thought she did good.
Hera.
But she didn't say much. No, not Hera. Hera's the green lady.
Yep.
The other bad one. Balin's apprentice.
Shin Hati.
Yeah.
Hati.
Shin Hati.
Yeah. I thought
She
she
did
was
good.
cool. She never blinked.
No,
Not
she
once
didn't.
during the whole show. I'm like, dude, that's such a cool. I don't know if it was her acting choice where she was like, guess what? I'm not going to blink. She's like Russian or something. So she's probably already terrifying in real life. Not that Russians are terrifying, but they probably can be. I guess anybody can be terrifying if they want to be, but
Every scene they're like, hold on.
Sorry.
And she's like,
Yeah, she like blinks for a super long time. She's like, okay,
I'm ready.
now dump all the water in my the eye drops, and then I'm just like. But I thought she was really cool, actually. I really liked her
she was
character,
good.
too. So, and I think she did a good job. Yeah, everyone was good.
Everyone was good.
I'm still trying to get used to Rosario's Ahsoka. I think she's good, but it's so different from the animated one. I'm still trying to adjust.
Okay.
It's kind of like the Star Wars score where it's like, I don't not like it, but it's also not at all what I'm used to.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to like accept it without being that guy who's like, that's not how it used to be. Like people do that all the time. They're like, oh, there's nothing like it is in animation. It's like, but it's so different in
Does it
animation.
match the book?
Oh my gosh. If anybody ever says, that's not what happened in the book, I will burn Utica to the ground. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, it's the office. I have to.
Oh my gosh.
But the acting was good. They didn't do a lot that was like, I just feel like in past Star Wars shows, they've had such cringy characters. Like they have cringy side characters all the time who are terrible acting. I'm like, why are you in the show?
Oh, I know.
Because they never did that in any of the movies. Like almost none of them. Can't think of any movies that had cringy actor side characters.
No.
But it's just, I don't know.
Especially not Jar Jar.
Jar Jar is
the best, dude.
Jar Jar is a terrible character, but at the same time is acted really well.
No, it's acted super
You know
well.
what I mean? So it's like everyone hates him, right? There's no
Yeah, but I want
denying
him in
that.
everything.
But also like it's a very believable character. It's hard. Jar Jar's. We could talk for a long time about Jar Jar.
I wanted Jar Jar and Ahsoka.
Anyway, good show.
Yeah, that's cool.
Good show.
I would recommend it.
I would too, for sure.
Yeah.
Even if you're a casual fan, I'd recommend it.
If
would. Well,
You
here,
don't.
let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
I guess you haven't seen them, so you don't really know how to answer this question. Would you recommend, though, that somebody watch all the animated stuff that I tried to get you to watch? Or do you think it doesn't matter as much? If you had to guess. Because you had a lot of questions.
I
while you were
did.
watching,
So
which
I think
is
it does
fine.
matter. Because I asked you like daily questions on stuff, which made it better.
Yeah. I would say at the very, very least, find the absolute, shout out to Screen Crush. They have probably the best. It's very complex.
Very complex.
It's just there's a lot of information, but
Yeah.
they have the most detailed, like it's like a 30-minute long video of who is Ahsoka and who are all of these characters who are in the Ahsoka show that they put out before the show came out. If anything, watch something like that.
The Star Wars Theory guy did one that was pretty good.
Star Wars Theory did a good one that was shorter.
Yeah.
Disney Plus has like Ahsoka Essential episodes that you can watch before that won't tell you they'll tell you a lot. They won't tell you everything. Yeah. Or just have a friend who knows a buttload about Star Wars and just ask them questions.
But I think it would be I don't think you need to watch them, but I would say it raises this show if you have. Because even like when I saw people that returned in this show, I was like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
I wasn't like, oh my gosh.
Because
he's there, or they're there or whatever.
Because here's the thing with The Mandalorian, that's the Star Wars project that had the most casual fans show up. I mean, I guess outside of the movies, right? That was the most people who just like came to watch it because he's freaking cool.
Yeah.
Like he's just a bounty hunter. It's really easy to follow.
There's not a lot of lore from the other stuff.
He's brand new. Everybody in that show is brand new, basically, until they start to bring back characters. But so the entry point's really low of like understanding it. So I'm positive that Mandalorian had more viewers than Ahsoka did because it's like
you need to know a little bit more with Ahsoka.
A lot of people don't know who she is. Even people who are pretty big Star Wars fans, because there's like a few different categories of Star Wars fans. They're big Star Wars fans, but they're only movie people. They love Star Wars, but they've only ever seen the movies. Then there's the super sweaty nerds like me who are like, they've seen everything ever. And
except for reading the books.
Everything except for the books, right? I can proudly say I've seen every single piece of visual Star Wars content ever. Well, that's not true. I haven't seen the kid show yet. Sorry.
You're going to
I have to retract that statement. And then you have the super casual fans who are like, Baby Yoda, I want to watch this. And they do that, right? And then there's like you who is like not a Star Wars fan, but accidentally slipped and fell into Ahsoka. And you're like, oh no, this feels good. So I guess we're gonna see.
I guess I like Star Wars again.
You're gonna show up to work. You're gonna show up to work one day with like a Padawan braid, and you're gonna be like, "Dude, I spent $9,000 on lightsabers last night, and I can't stop." And also, Watto is my favorite character.
I've changed my name to Hayden Christensen.
Oh my gosh. So anyway,
I've burned 80% of my body to become Darth Vader.
You just like crawl into work. I'm like, dude, what happened? You're like, I cut off my limbs and lit myself on fire because I love Star Wars that much. Also, I hate you. Anyway,
the high ground.
Good show.
Yeah, it was good.
Good show.
I liked it.
I'm happy. I'm like happy that it happened.
Yeah,
you know?
And I'm super stoked for season 2.
Yeah. I hope it comes sooner than later.
I hope so.
I would imagine
I hope they're already working on it.
Writer strike's over.
Yeah.
So they probably
So is that a thing? It's over? We're
it's
good to
done.
Go?
Yeah,
okay.
it ended probably a week and a half ago ish.
Okay.
There was like was an official end midnight of like 2 Tuesdays ago or something like that.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, I would imagine that they have done very little work on the next season. I'm sure Dave Filoni already had an idea in his head of what was going to happen. So hopefully the writing process is short and they can just kind of get to filming pretty quick.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's a long
process.
It's a long process. I'm like, I'm going to be in my 30s when season 2 comes out. Like, that feels like a lot.
Maybe the movie will come out first.
And they have a show coming out that I'm very torn on that has nothing to do with Ahsoka, called The Acolyte, which is going to be set 1,000 years. No, 100 or 1,000. I think it's 100 years before The Phantom Menace.
Okay.
And it's like about the Sith. And so it has the potential of being so cool, but I'm also like, weird. The director is also like a mega feminist who hates the prequels. And so I'm like, that could be my least. It could either be my most favorite or my least favorite. And I really can't see it being in between. Because the leaked plot details are super cool.
Oh, okay.
But also they could ruin that.
Yeah,
like, really easily.
I'm sure they could. It's Disney.
We'll see what happens. They've canceled everything else, basically. So this is all we're holding on to for the next.
We got this and Percy Jackson.
Yes, my favorite Star Wars movie, Percy Jackson. Man.
Oh.
Okay, well, that's, I don't know. That's what I have to say about Ahsoka, spoiler free.
That's spoiler free.
Go watch it.
I don't think I have anything else to say.
Yeah. So go ahead and like this video.
Yep.
Subscribe.
Ring the bell.
Ring the bell for notifications.
Follow us on X and Twitter.
Click on all the links down below. It'll take you to our TikTok, our Instagram, our different things, different links. Shoot us an email. Patreon. Subscribe to anything. Open the Patreon. Yeah. Comment your score out of 10 for this show.
Yeah.
I'm really curious to know what people think. Because it was a little divided, but I think overall, as far as like the grand Star Wars fan base goes, people were higher than lower. I think people were more in the 6, 7s, 8s than they were.
I haven't heard of anybody that's hated it.
Yeah, which is good because there's been a lot of other stuff that was like divided. Mm-hmm. And this is like everybody's like up there. Some people absolutely loved it. Some people liked it, but not a lot of people hated it, which is nice.
Yeah.
So put a W in the chat for Star Wars. Yeah. Because they did something right.
We got a W in the chat for Star Wars.
This is a win for me. Now I can go spend more money on their stuff.
That's all it is. It's about the merch.
I'm going to be in freaking Galaxy's Edge 1 week from tomorrow, too, man. I'm going to be Star Wars land.
Oh, my gosh.
Vibing.
You and
my
Star Wars stuff.
Oh, you got me with that one. You and your Star Wars stuff. You
Star Wars. Jar Jar Binks loving.
You love Jar Jar.
I'm trying to think of somebody from Star Trek. I can't think of anybody. Spock. That was
Live long and prosper, my guy. And with that, we're going to jump into spoilers.
Okay.
And also, if you're leaving to go watch the show, goodbye.
Good. We'll miss you.